This looks completely wrong, but this is exactly the plan. In this tutorial, I will show you the exact stitch count, measurements, and washing settings so you can crochet and felt a great fitting sauna hat by yourself. Felted projects can only be made using woolen yarn. So today we are using Drops Snow yarn, which is 100% woolen and perfectly suited for felting. One 50-gram skein has 50 meters, and we will need 5 of them. Similar alternative yarns can be used as well. We are choosing slightly smaller hook than recommended, which is 7 millimeter. Then, of course, we will need a measuring tape, stitch markers, and of course, a washing machine for the felting. Here it is, our pre-felt measurements. So today we are crocheting a very huge hat, but which is totally intentional because we will shrink it or felt, and our horizontal shrinkage is much higher than vertical, so we need to make it extra wide. Let's start by making our first round or a magic ring. So put the yarn in the loop like this, then insert your hook, grab the yarn through the loop, and yarn over and pull a loop to create a chain 1. So this is our magic ring, our beginning of the first round. So tighten it, tighten the first chain, and we will chain 1 more. Just yarn over and pull a loop. And in the magic ring, we will create 8 single crochets. So insert your hook through the ring, grab the yarn, pull a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. This is our first single crochet. Now repeat, insert, grab the yarn, pull a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert, grab the yarn, pull a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And do like this until we have 8 single crochets. After placing the 8 single crochets, we will tighten the magic ring. So grab to the short yarn end we have right there and pull it to close the ring completely. And now we will create the rounds in continuous way. So we are not slip stitching anything. We will just continuously place single crochets in rounds. So insert into the first single crochet, and this will be our first stitch of the second round as well, and we will close the first round like this. So we will mark this stitch because this is the first stitch of the next round of the second round. So place a stitch marker right there so we would know where we finish our round and where we start the next one. All right, so the second round is an increase round. So we are placing in each stitch 2 single crochets. So in each stitch we are placing an increase. So let's place 1 more to fill our first stitch. So we should have 2 single crochets in there. All right, in the next one we are placing 2 single crochets as well. So insert, grab the yarn, pull a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is the second increase of the round. So continue again, insert into the next and place 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So for this round we are placing increases for each round, so it means we are doubling our stitch count. So repeat the same process of placing 2 single crochets in each stitch. Okay, so we reached the marker, so it means we finished our second round, and we should have a total of 16 single crochets. So now for round 3, we are immediately placing a single crochet in the stitch marker place, in the stitch marker stitch, 1 single crochet. So this will be our first stitch of the third round. So place the stitch marker once again into the same stitch, into the new we just placed, and the next stitch, in the next stitch we are placing an increase, so we are placing 2 single crochets. So now for this round we are increasing again, but alternating with single crochets. So 1 single crochet, in the next increase 2 single crochets, and then again single crochet, and once again an increase, 2 single crochets. So we should place a total of 8 increases. After this round, we should have a total of 24 single crochets. And as we reach the stitch marker, we are ready to place single crochets for round number 4, but we need to alternate those increases. So we are never trying to place an increase again if there was in the previous round at the same place. So it means that the first stitch will have an increase, 2 single crochets. So let's place a stitch marker on the first, because we already did 2 single crochets. So this is the first and first increase. And now in the next we are placing 1 single crochet, just like that. Again in the next 1 single crochet. And now the next stitch will have an increase, 2 single crochets. Now again the next 2 stitches will have a single crochet, so 1 and 1 in the next, and the following will be an increase, 2 single crochets. So if the pattern for this round is an increase, 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets. So just repeat like this until you reach the stitch marker, and this round also should have 8 increases. After this round we should have 32 stitches, and this is how our circle is looking at this point. So now for round 5 we need to make sure which stitch we are using for the beginning. So in the previous one we started with an increase, so we are definitely starting from a single crochet now, because we want to switch the places of the increase, so we would get that perfect circle after all the increase rounds. So let's place 1 single crochet in the stitch marker place, and this will be our first stitch of the round. Put the stitch marker again into the first stitch, and now continue 1 single crochet in the next. Repeat again 1 single crochet in the next, so 3 single crochets in total now. And in the next we are placing an increase, so 2 single crochets in one stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3 and increase. So we are repeating again the same, 3 single crochets and increase, 3 single crochets and increase. And again, as I mentioned before, we should place 8 increases for each round. After this round, we should have a total of 40 single crochets. And we are ready for round number 6. So for round number 6, we are again checking where to increase, because it's really important to switch up the places. So we started with the single crochets, and in the 4th stitch we have an increase. So now we have 4 single crochets and increase for this round. So we will start with single crochet once again. Take out the stitch marker, place 1 single crochet as a first stitch, insert the stitch marker once again, and now we will place an increase in the next, so 2 single crochets in one. All right, so we have 1 single crochet, increase. So now we continue. In the next 4 stitches we are placing 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, again 1 single crochet and increase. This will make sure that we skip the increases and we are not placing one increase on top of each other. So just the beginning is 1 single crochet and increase. So now we repeat the pattern of 4 single crochet, increase, 4 single crochet, increase. And we should place 8 increases for this round again. And a total stitch count should be 48 single crochets after finishing the round. For round number 7, we are ready again to start with just single crochets, because the increases pass by the increases of the previous round, because we have 5 single crochets now before the increase. So let's do that. I'm starting with 1 single crochet, mark our first stitch, don't forget to do that, and continue in the next 4 stitches, place 1 single crochet. Here it is, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, and in the next place increase, 2 single crochets in one stitch. All right, and now just repeat the pattern of 5 single crochets and increase until you finish the round and reach the stitch marker. After the round, we should have 56 single crochets. And let's start with round number 8. So we finished the last round with an increase. And we have the next increase after 5 single crochets. So in the 6th stitch, we have it here. So again, we need to shuffle around with our increase for this round. So we will place it in the middle, in between those previous round increases. All right, so let's start with 2 single crochets now. So 1 in each stitch. Place 1 in the first and put the stitch marker on again. and another in the next. And as we have the next increase a bit further, so we are placing here our increase, first increase for the round, 2 single crochets. Okay, now we, for the next 6 stitches, we are placing 1 single crochet in each stitch. So let's do that. Okay, so we have an increase right there and 6 single crochets. So in the next place, 1 increase, so 2 single crochets. All right, and now continue this pattern of 6 single crochets and increase, 6 single crochets and increase until you place 8 increases and you reach the stitch marker. And you should have 64 single crochets after this round. Round number 9. So again, we are doing our single crochets and increases regularly. So we need to make 7 single crochets until our increase. So I just placed our first single crochet, and now continue until you have 7 single crochets. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm ready for the increase. So let's place into the next 1 and 2 single crochets and continue again. 7 single crochets, increase, 7 single crochets, increase. We should have 72 single crochets after this round, and we have already this pretty big circle. So we finished with an increase. So we have 2 increases here at the end of the round and after on the 8th. So we should place somewhere in the middle. So round 10, we start with single crochet in the first stitch. Take the stitch marker, place 1 single crochet, and we will place 3 in total until our next increase. So place 1, let's place in the next 1 more, and 1 more. So we are around in the middle between those increases from the last round. And here let's place increase, 2 single crochets. So in the 4th stitch, and now continue like this: 8 single crochets, increase, 8 single crochets, increase. So we should place 8 increases again for each of the rounds. After 10 rounds, we should have 80 single crochets. And we are almost at the end of increasing. We have only 1 round left, so round 11. We are not alternating any increases. We're just going like this: 9 single crochets, increase, 9 single crochets, increase. And the total stitch count after this round should be 88 single crochets. We should keep increasing until we have the diameter of 11 inches or 28 centimeters. So after 11 rounds, we have exactly that. If you need more, just adjust and add a few more rounds. And now we're gonna work just regular single crochet rounds and build the body of the hat. Crochet as many rounds as you need to reach the total height of the hat of 12 inches or around 30 centimeters. So for my hat, I was doing rounds 12 to 27 of 88 single crochets, just one single crochet in each of the stitch and continuously building the body of the hat. This is how my hat is looking after 27 rounds. But before the finish, let's make a little flare so our hat wouldn't be so boring. So let's measure how many centimeters or inches I have at the moment. So from the very, very first round, from the very top to the bottom, I have around 28 centimeters or 11 inches. So it's perfect because for the flare, we're gonna add 2 rounds. So it will build up to 30 centimeters or 12 inches. So round 28 will be something like this. We will increase for 1 round and for the other just regular single crochet again. So for this round, we just make the pattern like this. 10 single crochets, increase. 10 single crochets, increase. So for this round, we are very widely spreading those increases. And again, we should make only 8 increases. So let's make that and I will meet you at the end. And after this round, we should have 86 single crochets. And sorry for the change of yarn. I decided to make a flare of different color. And now for round 29, we continue making those 96 single crochets. So just one single crochet in each stitch until you finish the round, until you reach the stitch marker, and that will be the end. To finish crocheting step, we need to join the rounds. So we're gonna use the invisible join method. So pull a tall loop and then cut the yarn. Then take that last loop out carefully like this. And we will join it by making a fake looking V-shaped stitch. So insert through the back, through both loops of the first stitch, and take that yarn end and pull it through like this. And now to create the V shape, we need to come back to the last stitch, insert in the middle of it, and pull that yarn through. But not through the top, as I'm doing it here, but we insert through the back of the stitch, through the back loop, in the middle of it. Grab the yarn and pull it through all the way. And this creates looking like another V stitch, another stitch, but this is the end of our round. So this will be invisible where we finished and where we started. And now the next step is just to within carefully the end of our round and secure by making a few knots. So just wiggle through a few stitches at the back of the hat and make a knot. And of course, don't be like me. Take a smaller, much smaller hook for weaving in the ends because it slides through through those stitches easier. So after joining the rounds and weaving in the ends, let's make a last measure. So what height we have from the very, very top crown to the bottom of the hat. So it's 30 centimeters, 12 inches, and the width of the hat is around 50 centimeters or 20 inches, but it's folded in half. This step is totally optional but very cute. So we're gonna create this loop on top of the hat for the hook, just to hang the sauna hat. But if you are making just any regular felt hat, this is not necessary. So I made a chain of 11 stitches, and now just making one row of single crochets back. So this would be a very thick loop on top of the head. And yeah, just finishing those single crochets, and now just gonna chain one, cut the yarn. So it's around 10 centimeters or 4 inches roughly. So chain one, cut the yarn and pull a longer loop, so we have this yarn enough to attach to the hat. Make a few knots to connect both ends, and I will pull one yarn end through the first single crochet. So insert your hook there, just anywhere basically at the at front of the chain. So only one yarn end, and then make a couple of knots for extra security, and then pull with the hook from the inside to the outside, attached to the top of the hat. So just basically pull those both yarn ends inside of the hat, and then basically like weave in those yarn ends to the inside. So just go through one stitch each yarn end, and then make a few knots. Repeat the process, weave it in, and make sure everything is tight and secured, because felting might exaggerate or loosen up those unweaved yarn ends. This is how our hat is looking after we finished crocheting. It's giant and almost would fit two heads, but this is perfect because we are ready for the next step. And the next step is finally felting. So for the faster felting process, we're gonna use a washing machine, and we're gonna run on cotton or normal cycle hot wash, so it's 60 degrees, and approximately will do for 30 minutes in total, but we will check every 10-15 minutes for controlled shrinkage. And we will add one old towel just to help with the agitation, and then the hat goes in. Let's close the doors and start the washing machine. So for me, it's a cotton cycle, 60 degrees. And for the spin, I use a regular one, which for me is 800. And let's go. I also add just a tiny splash of washing liquid. This lowers the surface tension of water and helps the wool fibers slide initially. Don't forget to set your timer. I do first 15 minutes because we don't want to overshrink it and we want to control it. So we can always add extra minutes, run extra cycle. So adjust to your washing machine, because sometimes top loaders might need more time for this. So first 15 minutes just passed by, and let's check what we have. And I already can see that the stitches are already felted a little bit. It's soaking wet. It's already shrank a little bit, but I can see that it's 15 minutes is not enough. So we are ready for extra time. So 10-15 minutes more. So let's do that. And if your washing machine doesn't open like this easily, you can run just the spin cycle and then open up, because sometimes it's just an error because of the temperature way too high. And after the next 15 minutes, we already have a sauna looking hat. So now the next step is shaping and stretching. So don't be gentle here. Stretch and shape it as you like. You can even put it on the bowl, or I don't know, any other like hard surface. So this step is quite crucial, I would say, because whenever it dries, it will be hard to fix. So now we need to fix and make it to your liking. You can always put it on your head and shape it directly on your head. Just tap that there wouldn't be any bumps, any weird waves where they shouldn't be, that your brim would look straight and nicely open. Also, you can put it on the flat surface and tap so the brim would open up. And then some more, if you can see, there's some wrinkles. So I'm just trying to straighten it up, straighten the loop on the top. If it still doesn't look perfect, you can use some water for just extra shaping. So wet your hand and tap that water in so the fibers would be more flexible and they would stretch it out. So do that. And basically, when you feel it's good enough, just leave to dry completely. And while drying, it will shrink 1 to 2 centimeters. So make sure this will be your final measurements. So as you see here, my crown is around 7 inches after dried, and the bottom is around 11 inches, so 28 centimeters with the brim. And the main circumference, the outer circumference of the hat, let's see, it's around 20 inches, 27 inches. So it's 69 centimeters. So it ended up being loose. If you want a bit more snug fit, you can run extra 10 minutes, but be careful because sometimes the shrinkage might happen even faster after it's already felted a little bit. So keep in mind that. And the main diameter of the hat ended up being 24 centimeters. It is definitely not a tight fitting hat, so it will fit all the head sizes. So here it is. Your little sauna hat is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel if you would like to see some more weird tutorials like this. Comment if you're gonna try to make it yourself. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next ones. Bye bye. I tried a bit different hat pattern as well. So it is more like a regular hat, bucket hat, beanie increase pattern of 6 increases throughout, not 8, as I showed you in this tutorial. So it looked really weird, but it was shaping more like a bucket hat, which I liked it more at the beginning. And here I did the comparison of a regular sized beanie and the one I made. It looks really crazy. But this pattern ended up shrinking into a cone. And of course, the moment of me changing two colors and bringing the previous color all along around in the rounds shrank the hat for like 40%. So this is insane. So you really need to be careful with the and make into consideration if you are changing colors or if you would decide to use different pattern.